Hello everyone, I'm Chris Mozillo Squidson, and this is a game review of Octopath Traveler. So, Octopath Traveler, despite what you might think, it's got surprisingly very little to do with cephalopods, and instead it's this big, meaty JRPG on the Nintendo Switch. Coming from Square-Enix, the big daddies of JRPGs, you can expect something good to come of it, and boy, does it deliver. So the unique selling point of Octopath Traveler is that you've got 8 different characters with their own unique storylines to follow. You've got a whole variety of classes to choose from, such as Warrior, Hunter, Apothecary, Scholar, and Merchant? What? I'm going to go with Therion, the Thief, Eon, because they're cool. Therion is a master thief, enjoying the downtrodden town of Boulderfall when he hears tale of a most impressive treasure to pilfer. Although, it's not exactly all that simple. In order to break into your target's location, you need to implement the power of stealing, which basically equates to going around and just emptying everyone's pockets. As you burgle your way through your target's location and its maze-like interior, you'll have to explore and try and locate as many chests as you can get your hands on.
Come on, I've got better things to do.
Oh, it looks so good. There's something about the turn-based combat that manages to reverberate with every nostalgic bone in my body. There's just something about dudes standing in a line, taking it in turns to be on a group of other dudes, that's surprisingly satisfying. And while we're on the topic of nostalgia, take a look at these menus. It still somehow looks really nice. Maybe I just don't get out often enough, but there's something about these sort of menu systems that just get you quivering. Anyway, back to burglary. As Therion sneaks and stabs his way through the mansion, you'll eventually stumble upon that which you've been seeking. Loot. Although, who would have guessed it, but things invariably go wrong and your great caper is busted by a simple butler. But he's no ordinary butler, because... What?
Let's get this over.
Oh my gosh, those boss sprites are so good. He's so big. Octopath Traveler's combat is a wonderful mix of classic turn-based strategy and modern tactics. Yes, you take it in turns to hit each other over the head, but each enemy has unique weaknesses that could be a specific weapon type or specific elemental attack. These vulnerabilities don't just deal extra damage, but slowly break the enemy's shield indicator. Once that drops to 0, it shatters and the foe is stunned for the rest of this turn and the next, taking even more damage and not being able to attack. This mechanic is so important in Octopath that you'll be constantly changing up your attack patterns and rarely finding yourself solely relying on the same simple attacks. Boss fights almost become a puzzle as you try and work out the best way of breaking their guard and still managing to apply any buffs and debuffs you might need. But once you've worked it out, you'll feel like some kind of a genius strategy king as you perfectly manage to stun the boss just as it's gearing up to unleash a big purple smoke move. Ooh, ominous. It's a combat system that will see you using everything in your arsenal, as you struggle to choose between buffing your party, getting that last hit on the shield, but still having relevant debuffs on the enemy for even stronger attacks. But you're also very low on HP, so maybe heal? When do you use your BP to charge up your attacks? Do you save them for one big destructive blow, or use them to get off a number of smaller hits at once to smash down their stagger shield? Combat, and bosses in particular, are a genuine challenge and a puzzle that demands you take a seat, sit down, stand up, and pay attention. Anyway, back to Therion. After your climactic battle with the butler, you'll find yourself tasked with locating the remaining of the 4 magical Dragon Balls.
He's right, milady. This is simply an agreement between us and a skilled but short-sighted thief.
Hey, what was that, Heathcliff? I'll have you know that I'm actually a really good... Oh man. But Therion is but just one of the 8 varied characters of which you can partake on a journey on. Let's take a look at the others. Alphen, the Apothecary.
Don't even mention it. I helped out someone in a bind. Simple as that.
Traveling the world, healing the diseases of the land. Tressa, the merchant.
Got it, Ma. Be back in 2 ripples of the tide.
Seeking the thrills of adventure. Ophelia, the cleric.
Your Excellency, may the sacred flame ever light your path.
Living the life in the holy church, helping others. Cyrus, the scholar.
There was another city-state with a history as long and proud as our own that came to a tragic ruin only 8 short years ago.
It's just reading books. Olberic, the warrior.
I thought you a friend. A brother!
Dealing with the harshness of war and combat. Primrose, the dancer. Embarking on a dark story of revenge.
Yusufa!
This is just a horrible life. And then Hannet, the hunter.
Eliza had to pay on thy debts, and thou only finishedst paying her back this last moon.
What?
I would hear all thou knowest about this red-eye.
So many characters, so many diverse and varied stories, and they all become quite interesting in their own ways. Even Ophelia, who's just churches. But their stories and primary jobs aren't the only things that are unique to each character, for you have path actions as well. What are path actions? Well, path actions are like Therion's ability to steal. They're abilities that allow you to interact with the NPCs across the world in various ways that ultimately allow you to solve a whole plethora of problems. You can steal literally everything in an entire town's pockets, or buy it, I guess. I don't know why you would. Stir up lively conversation to glean new information from NPCs and discover hidden items or discounts at the inn. Primrose can seduce someone's mum and take her on an epic journey to the literal other side of the world against some ethereal spirit monster. And Olberic can walk around an entire town and just beat the ever-living snot out of everyone there. Because why not? The point is, there's more than one solution to most of the side quest problems that you'll come across on your journey, and this doesn't even begin to scratch the surface of like the extra special abilities that each character has unique to them, such as being able to open specific chests or what have you. Octopath Traveler just ends up feeling like a love letter to classic JRPG fans. It's got everything you need, such as a surprisingly dark story, interlaced with the odd bit of goofy hijinks, or a turn-based combat system that is, simple at first, but hides a surprising amount of depth to it. It's got literally all of the staples that you might come to expect from a JRPG. Classically sneaking into a Colosseum tourney to find a specific lead on someone.
What the?
Gradually increasing ferocity of spells and names of spells.
A tempest of ice shall rage!
Every political figure or person in a position of power being inherently evil.
Now come, precious daughter of House Azelhart.
All that's really missing is a sewer level. Yes. Hey. Now all it needs is like a boss that's like, I don't know, like a big wall or a ghost train or something, yeah? Oh. Now let's take a moment to put our big boy trousers back on and talk about some of the issues with Octopath Traveler. Where are my trousers though? For as much as I love Octopath Traveler and as much as it's an instant classic, most of the bosses are just dudes. Big dudes, but dudes nonetheless. There's rarely that moment where like the music suddenly kicks in and this godlike creature erupts forth like... The quality of the boss sprite work is nothing to sneeze at, and there are a few like actual beast boss monsters that are truly quite imposing. But for me, and these games are for me, it just kind of falls a little bit short of the mark at times. Random encounters. I love random encounter systems, and I will stand by them as a thing until the world ends. But in an age where Bravely Defaults and Bravely Second exist, not being able to Not being able to manually turn off random encounters or reduce them significantly can be really annoying. But when you see a chest you missed and have to go back through the whole thing all over again while beating off monsters over and over, it's tiresome. Ultimately, it's all fine, the combat system is amazing and I love it. But when you're near the end game and trying to clean up some bits and pieces, being stopped by encounters that you finish in a single turn for little or no reward could just be avoided. And the final complaint I'll really give, and it's not really much of a complaint, it's just a thing, is that you're just playing 8 separate stories. These stories are well written and wonderful, full of character, and oh god, I love them. But when you've got a party of 8 characters, they rarely ever actually interact with one another. Each story almost exists in its own pocket universe from one another. And you do have instances where the characters will take a moment to chat and whatnot, but that doesn't really exist. But all that doesn't detract from how great of a game Octopath Traveler is. It's classic JRPG magic, but at the same time, it's not too old fuddy-duddy and set in its old past ways to scare off the fellow hip kids, and you know, it's a great entry-level sort of game. It also looks crackingly good. Honestly, who would have thought that some varied focuses and nice lighting effects would have been able to make 2D sprites look so outlandishly beautiful, genuinely breathtaking at times. The more I think about it, the more I become enraptured with how great of a game Octopath Traveler is. Sure, you're playing 8 separate stories in a world, but they somehow all add up into this great wonderful world that makes it feel alive as you get whispers between each story that maybe slowly add up into something a little bit more epic. Anyway, thank you for watching my video. If you did enjoy it, please let me know in the comments or leave a like or something greatly. Please, for the love of God, save me. Otherwise, I've got a video up here, which will probably be a God of War review, because I'm still quite happy about that one. On down here will be some other video I did about cats. Ooh, cats. Otherwise, if you click on my face, there will be a subscribe orb, which you can click to subscribe. Thank you, and goodbye.